Hello YouTube viewers, in this video I'm going to show you how to weather a Bachmann 5 plank wagon. Now this has already been weathered in the factory. It's had a slight dusting at the bottom here, a very light dusting, and on the top here very light. I'm not happy with that. It doesn't really look weathered to me at all. I can vastly improve that. It's a good little wagon, so I'm going to take you through this and show what I've got to do. What I'm going to use for this are these weathering powders. So basically we've got a medium rust from Humbrol, which is an earthy colour. We've got a dark earth colour, that acts as a rust, that's from MIG. We've got a smoke black colour, I'm going to use that for the ageing, and a white colour. Most of these from Humbrol. Also a varnish from Humbrol, and 3 paintbrushes to apply them to, a thin one, a medium and a thick brush. So let's go. So what I'm going to use first is a tiny dab of the white colour, and this is where the planks on the wagon have started to lose their paint and start to age. The paint's sort of been weathered and disappeared with the sunlight, etc. Basically it's had a battering through the years, it's not being looked after, so we just need a small amount of that. So I'll start applying little bits, right there, just little certain bits of planks, just to age it a little bit. Try not to get in the cracks, it's not always easy to do that. Don't want to go over the top, there's very just a light amount on here, very little bit. Just give that aging process a look. There's slightly a bit too much, but I can brush that out. So I'll continue to do that around the wagon before I move on to the next stage. So as you probably see here, just doing a light dusting in certain areas of the white to age the wood on the wagon here. So just a light dusting, nothing heavy, and then we'll go on to the next stage, which is the aging process. Okay, the next stage here, I'm going to age the wagon by basically making the planks on the wagon look old. This is going to simulate where the wind and rain and weather's got a hold of the wagon, and it's not been looked after for a few many years. It's not been repainted. Basically it's on its last legs. Still in service, still running, but we need to make that look that way. So what I'm going to use for here is a smoke black colour, which is Humbrol 16421. So I'm going to apply the black colour now to age the planks on the wagon. So again, I'm using a medium brush, very thin strokes. Let's start aging it. Just light strokes, you don't need anything heavy on here. You see already how it's starting to age the wood. Just keep going over and over again until you tone the colours down. Make sure you're getting the cracks between the wood, all the joints there. So I'll just continue doing this and I'll show you the finished results of that. This is a very messy process, by the way, so make sure you use a mat or a tablecloth because you do get dust everywhere. So as you can see, all the dirt here has got between each plank in the nooks and crannies, and that looks far better than it did before. You didn't have that, it was clean. You would never see these clean on a working railway unless it's a preserved railway or something like that. Perhaps not even that. So this has been toned down, so the colour's been toned down on the back as well. You can go heavier, I may go heavy on the backs here. That one I have already. If you want to go a bit heavier, you can wet the brush and paint little individual sections out here. But I think I'm going to leave that as it is for now. I'm quite happy with that. It's aged the wagon, which I wanted. This has been repaired at some stage, so it has had some work on it. As you can see, these planks have been put in as replacement planks at some stage. So the next stage, we've got these metal bits here, so the end corner pieces here and bits here as well. And what I'm going to do with that, I'm going to slightly make that look corrosive, so a little bit of rust going on there, as you would see. So what I'm going to do here, I've got a tiny little brush where the end of the paintbrush is hardly non-existent, but you've got a little bit of brush on the end here. So I've dipped this in the varnish. I'm just going to dab little bits around the metal areas, very tiny little bits. Say here, oh, slipped a bit. A few there, not over the top on this one. Just little individual bits and pieces. Let's have a bit down there, say as well. A bit there, a bit there, a bit there, say a bit there. Don't want to go over the top on this, and then you get the rust. Again, a slight amount. This is the dark earth rust from Mig, and you just dab this on to where the wet patch is. Just keep dabbing. Use as much of the powder as you want, or little as a powder, as if you want it wet or dry, which I'll show you in a minute what I mean by that. Blow the excess off. Now let me show you what I've done. So basically you created a rust effect on top here. I don't want to go over the top with this, but you can see the effects it has on here. A bit underneath, but I've put that corner bit out there. It's where it's corroding away. That just brings it more realism to the wagon. Okay, that's the corrosion done. Just needs a bit of a clean up. As you can see, that's made a vast improvement on the standard weathering. So next stage, I'm just going to put a light covering on the underframe here. Little dark earth to make it a little bit rusty, but not too much. For this I'm using the Humble Dark Earth 97910. Okay, I'm just going to apply this with a thinner brush. Get that. And just paint that on. Not too much, probably gone a bit too over the top though, it's not too bad. All matched together. Can just blow it off. Put it in the frame there as well. Just tone it down. Okay, I've added the dark earth colour, like the rust colour underneath, where it's been weathered and rust got to it a little bit. And I've toned a little bit down on the planks as well with the same colour, just to give a variation. And the same with the side there. So nothing heavy, just to give it a different tone on the underframe there, but it seems to work. Okay, what I'm going to do next is a rainwater effect. So it's basically where the rain's got to it, and there's going to be slight streaks, but you wouldn't really see that much on a wagon like this, so I'll do this very lightly. And all you do, got some water here, so you dip your brush in the water, and you're going to more or less dry brush it. So dry your brush on a bit of paper and just the odd streaks. Like that. Don't need much at all really. Okay, you can see that, but you can pick out the streaks there where the rain's got to it. I say dry brush it, just to use a slight damp paintbrush. Bits evaporate and bits stick. So it reacts with the weathering powders there. So all I'm going to do now is get this matte seal, which is a varnish, sorry, satin, this one, or matte, and that will seal all the work I've done here. Okay, here's a finished product, all been weathered, rusted, and I'm sure you'll agree that is much better than the standard Bachmann factory weathering. It took about 20 minutes to do in total. And just pick up the little rust details there. Just more realistic. Here's the other side. I'm quite pleased with that. You could add a little more detail, like grease around the buffers, things like that. Depends how far you want to go with it. I slightly weathered the internal bit here, but not much. Don't know what to do with that yet. It's an ex-China clay wagon, so I'm probably going to fill this anyway, but I just weathered that little bit. But it's the outside really I want to concentrate on today. So thanks for watching. See you soon. Here are a few more wagons unweathered. This one I've heavily weathered a bit more than the other one had just done. So slightly heavier weathering on that. So you can see the planks there have been had the paint erased. This is one I've just done. So quite a light weathering really there. Another one slightly heavy weathered. Not quite as much as the first one. And then we've got a tube wagon here. I've weathered that as well. Or was it a pipe wagon? Pipe or tube, I can't remember now. That's been slightly weathered, not too heavily. But I quite like those.